Roger Ebert was one of the most influential film critics since the dawn of cinema. A battle with cancer and resulting physical disabilities didn't stop him from thriving in an industry he adored. His inspirational life is recounted in the new documentary, Life Itself.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm here with Brenna and Zorianna, and we're going to talk about Life Itself, the new documentary about film critic Roger Ebert. We've all just seen it. Zorianna, 2 thumbs up?
Oh, more than that. Actually, I had the honor of filling in for Roger Ebert when he first took a leave of absence when his cancer returned. And so it was very emotional for me to watch this documentary. But I think it would be emotional for anybody to watch this documentary because you do see his life unfold, and it's very warts and all. You know, you see him in his earlier, younger days. You see him at his worst when he's making bad choices with women or he's drinking. Then you see him in this stage where he's in the hospital and he's getting his throat cleaned out through a feeding tube, which is very hard to watch. But this is what Roger wanted. He insisted that this documentary be made this way, and it is very emotional, for sure.
I think a reason why it's so emotional to watch is because most everybody has been through something like this. We all have a relative who was in the hospital, who had cancer, who had to go through chemo and surgery. And in this situation, we have an extra layer of emotion because this is somebody that we've watched on television for years, somebody we've respected. We've all grown up with 2 thumbs up. So to see this respected man in that situation is just so much more powerful.
It's really a complete biography,
Yeah.
or at least as complete as you can get within 2 hours. And it really is something interesting in that regard, because the fact that we're not just concentrated on the influential elements of Ebert's career. We're talking about an entire lifespan here, and
Life itself, even?
Life itself. Mm-hmm. And we don't have, all the good parts of Ebert. It doesn't commit the sin of basically giving this saintly image of this guy who we all
he's not
love.
up on a pedestal
Not at all. No.
At all.
There's a lot of, things that we learn about his personal life that aren't great. His tumultuous relationship with Gene Siskel, which is treated with a lot of humor in this, but you could tell that there was never exactly a nice regard between the two of them, even maybe late in Gene Siskel's life. But the fact that it delves into all of those layers about Roger Ebert really makes it something special.
But what was also wonderful was seeing the way his family was around him. His wife, Chaz. I mean, part of this is very much a love story between the two of them. She was the woman that you never knew. Everyone knew who he was, but unless you were part of his life personally, you didn't know much about Chaz. And there we got to see like pictures of them on vacation and doing things together, and her speaking about her own worries, how like they couldn't resuscitate him because that's not what he wanted, that's not what he instructed, but that's what she wanted.
Yeah. And she admits her frustration. I mean, she says right out, people ask me if I get frustrated with sort of having to deal with this, and she says, yes, of course, you have to, but you still love the person that you're with, and you'll go through anything for them.
Yeah, I also feel that one of the more heartbreaking elements of the film, which is entirely unintentional, is the way that the interviews happen. Because the film was shot before and after he passed. So we'll see one interview with an old work buddy, and he's talking about how great Roger Ebert is. And then we'll see an interview with a friend who talks about how great Roger Ebert was. Mm. And that adds a completely different emotional element to watching the film.
But it's great to see the actual filmmakers talk about Roger Ebert. We have Martin Scorsese talking about
Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog. It's like for Scorsese, it's like, yeah, these guys really helped my career. You hear him talking about Ebert's review of Who's That Knocking at My Door and how he was calling him a revelation and something new to cinema, and then we cut to the fact that Ebert didn't like The Color of Money and how he was so devastated by that, and we hear insights about Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which was the movie that Ebert wrote. And it's just fascinating to see that, and I think it's smart that the director, Steve James, doesn't put himself out there in the spotlight as one of those filmmakers. Mm-hmm. He directed Hoop Dreams, which Ebert was a huge fan of. He put it on his list of the favorite movies of the 1990s, and that movie really, part of its success was owed to critics like Ebert and Siskel making people see it. And the fact that Steve James doesn't say, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to let other filmmakers like Ramin Barani, who made Man Push Cart, I'm going to let them go out there and talk about their success based on those critics, and I'm not going to put myself in the spotlight. It was a really, really great choice.
But the ending was very powerful, and it was done via email. It was the last bunch of emails between the director and Roger. And you could tell that Roger's health was failing. The emails were coming back.
One word.
Exactly. And then finally, like, he just said he was tired, and that was it. And Steve James was like almost peppering him with questions, like trying to just get anything out.
Before the end.
Yeah. And it just didn't happen.
Brilliantly told and beautifully heartfelt, life itself gets 2 thumbs way, way up. See it.
The film is all at once funny, sad, and joyful, much like life itself. See it.
I find with documentaries, you don't often have to give it a see it because they're very easily watched on a small screen. But with a film like this, I feel like Roger spent his entire life watching films on the big screen, that it's just fitting for us to all gather in a movie theater and watch his life on a big screen as well. So, see it.
Cheers.
Cheers to 2 thumbs.